Chapter 1, page 16. There seemed to be no use in waiting by the little door, so she went back to the table, half hoping she might find another key on it, or at any rate, a book of rules for shutting people up like telescopes. This time she found a little bottle on it, which certainly was not here before, said Alice, and round the neck of the bottle was a paper label with the words, "Drink me," beautifully printed on it in large letters. That would be a nice one to draw. It was all very well to say, "Drink me," but the wise little Alice was not going to do that in a hurry. "No, I'll look first," she said, "and see whether it is marked poison or not." For she had read several nice little histories about children who had gotten burnt and eaten up by wild beasts and other unpleasant things, all because they would not remember the simplest rules their friends had taught them, such as, a red poker bun will burn you if you hold it too long. A red poker will burn you if you hold it too long. And that if you cut your finger very deep with a knife, it usually bleeds. And that she had never forgotten that if you drink much from a bottle marked poison, it's almost certain to disagree with you sooner or later. All very good advice, folks. However, this bottle was not marked poison, so Alice ventured to taste it, and finding it very nice, it had in fact a sort of mixed flavor of cherry tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, toffee, and hot buttered toast. She very soon finished it off. Can you imagine eating those things together? What a curious feeling, said Alice. I must be shutting up like a telescope. And so it was indeed. She was now only 10 inches high, and her face brightened up at the thought that she was now the right size for going through the little door in that lovely garden. First, however, she waited for a few minutes to see if she was going to shrink any further. She felt a little nervous about this, for it might end, you know, said Alice to herself, in my going out altogether like a candle. I wonder what I should be like then. And she tried to fancy what the flame of a candle is like after the candle is blown out, for she could not even remember ever having seen such a thing. After a while, finding that nothing more happened, she decided on going into the garden at once. But alas, for poor Alice, when she got to the door, she found she had forgotten the little golden key. And when she went back to the table for it, she found she could not possibly reach it. She could see it quite plainly through the glass, and she tried her best to climb up one of the legs of the table, but it was too slippery. And when she had tired herself out without trying, the poor thing sat down and cried. Come, there's no use crying like that, said Alice to herself rather sharply. I advise you to leave off this minute. So she's talking to herself, trying to talk herself through this tough situation. I think we all do that. You know, if we're in a tough spot, we try to give ourselves advice if there's nobody else right there. Welcome to 2020. So people are in quarantine, people are doing things differently all the time, and we've got to constantly be looking at what we're doing and giving ourselves advice to try to move forward the best way we knew how. And so she advised herself to leave off this minute, to get going. She generally gave herself very good advice, though she very seldom followed it. I think that's true for a lot of us. We know what the good advice probably is, but we choose something else. And, that's how our life choices get made. And sometimes we choose good advice, but other times we choose, other advice. And sometimes she scolded herself so severely as to bring tears into her eyes. So Alice is hard on herself. Some of us are hard on ourselves, too. And once she remembered trying to box her own ears for having cheated herself in a game of croquet she was playing against herself. For this curious child was very fond of pretending to be two people. But it is no use now, thought poor Alice, to pretend to be two people. Why, there's hardly enough of me left to make one respectable person. Soon her eye fell on the little glass box that was lying under the table. She opened it and found in it a very small cake, on which the words "Eat me" were beautifully marked in currants. This would be a nice picture to draw. Well, I'll eat it, said Alice, and if it makes me grow larger, I can reach the key, and if it makes me grow smaller, I can creep under the door, so either way, I'll get into the garden, and I don't care which happens. She ate a bit, and said anxiously to herself, which way, holding her hand on the top of her head to feel which way she was growing. And she was quite surprised to find that she remained the same size. To be sure, this generally happens when one eats cake, right? We don't usually grow up or down when we eat cake. I mean, we might grow out a little bit, or round a little bit, but we usually can't feel it immediately after. Well, unless we eat a lot of cake, and then maybe we can. But Alice had got so much into the way of expecting nothing but out of the way things to happen that it seemed quite dull and stupid for life to go on in the common way. So she set to work, and very soon she finished off the cake. And that is the end of chapter 1.